Good morning, students. Today we will start electrostatic, unit number 1 of class 12 physics portion. In this unit, we will have two parts. First part is electrostatic force. In this part, we will have frictional electricity, properties of electric charge, Coulomb's law in vector form, units of charge, relative permittivity or dielectric constant, principle of superposition, continuous charge distribution. And I am Upendra Raman, PGT Physics of Kendriya Vidyalaya, Jhalawad. Our first topic is frictional electricity. So, what do you understand by this term frictional electricity? Frictional electricity is the electricity produced by rubbing two suitable bodies and transfer of electron from one body to another. Let us take one example. We have taken a glass rod and we'll taken a silk cloth. When you rub this silk cloth over this glass rod, you will get positive charge on glass rod and silk gets negative charge. The body which loses electrons gets positive charge and the body which gains electron gets negative charge. Let us take another example. This is an ebonite rod and we will take fur. When we rub fur on this ebonite rod means hard rubber rod. When this fur is rubbed over this ebonite rod, then ebonite rod gets negative charge and fur gets positive charge. It means the loosely bound electrons on the surface of the fur transferred from fur to ebonite rod. Therefore, ebonite rod gets negative charge and fur gets positive charge. Electron in glass are loosely bound than the electrons in silk. So when glass and silk are rubbed together, the comparatively loosely bound electron from glass gets transferred to silk. As a result, glass becomes positively charged and silk becomes negatively charged. In the second example of ebonite rod and fur, we are getting the electron which is transferred from fur to the ebonite rod. Therefore, fur becomes positively charged and ebonite rod becomes negatively charged. It is very important to note that the electrification of the body is due to the transfer of electrons from one body to another. If the electron is transferred from a body, then the deficiency of electron makes the body positive. If the electrons are gained by a body, then the excess of electron makes the body negative. If the two bodies from the following list are rubbed, then the body appears earlier in the list is positively charged, whereas the later is negatively charged. Let us see this table. We'll have two columns. The object from column 1 when rubbed with the object of column 2. Then the object of column 1 gets positive charge and the object of column 2 gets negative charge. We have already seen the example of glass rod and silk cloth. When glass is rubbed over silk cloth, then glass rod gets positive charge and silk cloth gets negative charge. It means the electron loses from glass rod and it is gained by the silk cloth. Now we'll have some properties of charges. There exist only two types of charges, namely positive and negative. Like charges repel each other, whereas unlike charges attract each other. Charge is a scalar quantity. Charge is additive in nature. Charge is quantized. You have to understand the meaning of quantization. Electric charge exists in discrete packets rather than in continuous amount. It can be expressed in integral multiple fundamental electronic charge. It means Q is equals to plus minus Ne, where N is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. It means N is a natural number. Sixth, charge is conserved. The algebraic sum of positive and negative charge in an isolated system remains constant. In any system, we'll have the total number of charge, whether there is excess of charge from one body to another or there is deficiency of charge from one body to another. In both the cases, we will get the total charge in the isolated system which remains conserved or which remains same. Coulomb's law, force between 2-point electric charges. Let us consider there are 2-point charges Q1 and Q2 which are separated by a distance small r. We want to find out the force which is existing on charge Q1 or on charge Q2. For that, the statement was given by Coulomb, and according to that statement, the force of attraction or repulsion between 2-point charges is directly proportional to product of both the charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. It means F is proportional to Q1 Q2 and F is inversely proportional to R square. When we combine these two parts, we will get F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square. Or in the form of equation, we will get a constant F is equals to K small k Q1 Q2 by R square, where K is called electrostatic force constant. The value of this small k in vacuum is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is permittivity of free space. In medium, small k is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon, where epsilon is absolute permittivity in a medium. Dielectric constant or relative permittivity is equals to epsilon by epsilon naught. That is the ratio of absolute electric permittivity in a medium to the absolute electric permittivity in the free space or vacuum. Therefore, the force F is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. This is the magnitude of the force, and we'll get the value of epsilon naught 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton per meter square. Once we want to find out the value of small k, that we will obtain by putting the value of epsilon naught in this, we will get k is equals to 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. Coulomb's law in vector form. Once you get the value of magnitude of force, we have to talk about the direction of force also using Coulomb's law in vector form. Let us take two charges, two positive charges Q1 and Q2 which are separated by a small distance r. Therefore, the unit vector, the direction of unit vector r12 is from Q1 to Q2. But both the charges are positive charge, therefore they repel each other, and we'll get the direction of force F12 and F21 which is opposite to each other. In the similar manner, if both the charges are negative charges, minus Q1 and minus Q2 which are separated by a small distance r, therefore the unit vector direction is from minus Q1 to minus Q2, and we'll get the direction of forces F12 and F21 which are opposite to each other because they repel each other. Like charges always repel each other. In these two cases, we'll get the direction of force in the vector form of force F12. It means force on charge 1 due to 2, which is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square R21. This R21 is the unit vector which is in the opposite direction to the force which is existing over there. It means in the opposite direction of F12. In the similar manner, F21 is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square R cap 12. But if we will take two charges which are opposite to each other, it means plus Q1 and minus Q2 separated by a small distance small r, then we will get attraction between these two charges because unlike charges attract each other, and we will get the equation of Coulomb's law in vector form, that is F12 force on charge Q1 due to Q2 is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square R cap 1 2. And in the similar manner, F21 is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square R21 cap, which shows that the direction of F12 is opposite to the direction of F21. Therefore, in the vector form, F12 is equals to minus F21, although the magnitude in both the cases remains same. Once we'll put the value of unit vector r cap, then the equation of force is modified in this form. Here you have to note this point. This Coulomb's law always follows inverse square law only. Units of charge. SI unit of charge, we all know that SI unit of charge is Coulomb, which is denoted by capital C. 1 coulomb of charge is that charge which, when placed at rest in vacuum at the distance of 1 meter from an equal and similar stationary charge, repel it and is repelled by it with a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. In CGS electrostatic system, unit of charge is stat coulomb or ESU of charge. In CGS electrostatic system, small k is equals to 1 upon capital K. For vacuum, capital K is equals to 1. Therefore, force become Q1 Q2 by R square. And when we put the value of small r 1 centimeter and force 1 dyne, then we will get Q is equals to plus minus 1 state coulomb. In CGS, electromagnetic unit is also used, which is denoted by EMU. 1 EMU of charge is equals to 3 into 10 to the power 10 ESU of charge. 1 coulomb of charge is equals to 3 into 10 to the power 9 state coulomb. These are the units which you have to remember along with the numerical value. Next one is relative permittivity or dielectric constant. As we all know, the dielectric constant or relative permittivity is given by the ratio of absolute permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of free space, that is capital K is equals to epsilon by epsilon naught. The dielectric constant or relative permittivity can also be defined as the ratio of electrostatic force between two charges separated by a certain distance in vacuum to the electrostatic force between the same two charges separated by the same distance in that medium. Capital K is equals to Fv, that is force in vacuum by force in medium. Dielectric constant has no unit because it is in the form of ratio. Therefore, we will not get any unit and dimension for dielectric constant. Principle of superposition. In the presence of many charges, the total force act on a given charge is equals to the vector sum of the force exerted on it by all other charges. This principle gives a method to find out the force on a charge when n charges are interacting. It means if we are having more than two charges, then we'll find out the value of total force which is acting on a particular charge by all the other charges by the vector sum of all the individual forces acting on a particular charge. In the similar manner, the electric field we can find out, that we'll see later on in next chapter. Continuous charge distribution. Any charge which covers a space with dimensions much less than its length away from an observation point can be considered a point charge. बहुत दूर कोई charge होने पर उसको हम point charge consider कर सकते हैं. A system of closely spaced charge is said to be form a continuous charge distribution. It is useful to consider the density of charge distribution as we do for density of solid, liquid, gas. First one is line or linear charge density, which is denoted by lambda. If the charge is distributed over a straight line, then such type of charge distribution is called linear charge distribution. Linear charge density is the charge per unit length. Its SI unit is coulomb per meter. Let us take one line charge element, a positive charge, and in that an elementary part is taken which carries the charge dq and small elementary length which is dl. Therefore, lambda is given as the ratio of dq by dl. Total charge in line L is obtained when you integrate the equation q is equals to integration of surface charge density, which is denoted by sigma. If a charge is distributed over a surface area, then the distribution is called surface charge distribution. Surface charge density is the charge per unit area and its SI unit is coulomb per meter square. Let us take a charge distribution over a surface and one elementary part is taken from it, ds, in which dq charge is present. Therefore, sigma is equals to dq by ds and the total charge on the surface S is obtained by integrating sigma ds over the whole surface S. Volume charge density rho. If the charge is distributed over a volume, then the distribution is called volume charge distribution. Volume charge density is the charge per unit volume. Its SI unit is coulomb per meter cube. In this type of symmetry, we have taken cuboid. You can also take cube, sphere, etc. etc. Therefore, we will have rho which is equals to dq by dv. In the similar manner of two previous cases, we are getting the third case of volume charge density, which is given as rho is equals to dq by dv. Therefore, the total charge on volume V is q is equals to integration of rho dv. Thank you for watching.